nongurarawa Nigo sana kodoe na mataka Pauna numa Nananda tonlasa Mai subana numa tikona Fanwarongo nano monivanua Kenata nilevu tunaua Lomango voli meu bau batuka Tovolea ke balavun
So
Brilliant.
just tell me what you did.
I went into, there was someone saying more,
Yeah, right. You got it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
and then I just pressed something and I allowed, and I'm on.
yeah. I will expect an apology from Futi, but that's okay.
Why?
Well, I was getting blamed for the sound issue. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right, Futi. It's all
Well,
right.
yeah, but you know,
I'm sure it was my end.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll text Ray and tell him you're in. Hey, Scotty.
Evening, Colonel. Everybody.
Scotty.
All right.
Got him.
Can you hear me now, John?
Yes, we can, Pete.
Right.
Yes,
Brilliant.
we can.
Just gonna get a different background.
There we go.
Nice.
Must be in a fjord.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember which one. Holden, I think.
Hello, Ray.
Hello, John.
And we got Martin in.
Morning, Ray.
Hey, Martin.
Hello, Ray.
How are you?
All good, thank you. All good. Yeah, good to hear you.
I'm glad that you could come in. That's great.
Yeah. Very good.
And,
been a while.
and thanks for sharing the pictures with me. That picture that you sent of me, I think I must have been a PRS then. That picture you sent me, I can't remember, but it didn't look. I didn't even recognize myself. I looked so young.
Yeah, you were a PRS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, because I did 2 trips as a bellboy, and then I actually caused my mum to have what was in the UK at the time was called a nervous breakdown, but it was a major anxiety attack because I was due to go home on leave at the end of my second contract as a bellboy, which was for Christmas, and I just banged off I got told if I could stay on over Christmas, because nobody wanted to work Christmas, right, I'd get promoted to PRS. So I just banged off a letter, gave it to somebody that was going home, and I wrote in the letter something like, well, I'm coming home for Christmas. Well, I'm not. And that's apparently, according to my dad, that's all she read. And then she had a complete meltdown because she was really looking forward to me coming home. So, yeah.
Wow. So where are you based now, Ray? Where are you?
I'm in this place is called Powell River, BC. It's just north of Vancouver. When you cruise Alaska, when you go up, the night you sail from Vancouver, when you go up the coast, there's a small town. If you ever went out on deck, you'd see lit up at night. You'd see a town called Campbell River, and that's on Vancouver Island. And we're just opposite that on the mainland, but it's quite remote. There's 2 different ferries that you have to get to Vancouver, and you can fly in and out of here, but you can't drive in and out of here. But it's a beautiful place.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you
and the climate is really good.
Did you settle there
here
after leaving the sea then?
Yeah, I left the sea in. I'm going to say it was 90. I'm trying to think. I think I left the sea in 96.
Okay.
Just before 1996, and then I had a complete career change.
Okay.
And worked in IT for 20 years.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm looking for my next adventure. I'm not retired. My wife thinks I'm retired, but I'm not.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, good to
Yeah.
see you.
And how about
Good to see
you? So you stayed at sea for 10 years and then,
Yeah. My last ship was actually, funny enough, in '96. But
Oh, was
what I
it?
did, Ray, was I left and went back again. I couldn't settle, so I kept going, leaving and going
I
back
did.
again. So
I did that too. I left after 6 years on the Sun and
yeah,
left for a year and a half and then went back.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to what I did, yeah. So, but I eventually left in '96, and that was it. And
Right.
funny enough, that was on another ship called the Sun Princess, which you
Oh,
may
you
have
worked on the new, yeah, I
on the
didn't, I
new
saw
one.
the new Sun Princess, but I didn't
Yeah.
ever work on it.
No,
And
so
and
yeah,
and
so that was my last ship.
and you're still working, Martin, aren't you?
I'm still working. I'm still working as a carpenter. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I've got legally retirement age is 67, I think, in the UK. So I've got about
Yeah.
7 years before I retire. If I retire, I don't know.
Right.
Okay,
Just to
Chris.
kick in there.
Why don't you try and get Billy Vader on, Chris?
Okay, let me mute
Yeah.
myself here then, John.
I'm not having much hope about it, but we'll see. He's going to try and get Billy Vader on by getting him to log on.
Where's tonight's anchorman then? Is he?
Yeah. He said he'd be late.
All
Yeah.
right.
Brendan,
Hi guys.
Brendan,
How you
you
Hi, Brendan.
you are the anchorman because Hinge is
Ah.
going to be late. You're good. Your personality is wonderful.
Tell me, anyone know why Taffy has left the Crew Bar group?
I think it was a mistake. It had to be a mistake.
I don't
I
think
hope
he
so.
would have left it.
No.
No, but it
Well,
says he has. I just wondered. That was all.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
know.
I saw that.
Yeah, who knows?
Ask him.
It was very interesting, Martin, seeing the bellboy pictures that you and Ray sent up. They were really funny. I remember the A-deck pantry on the Sun Princess, and well, I relayed that story I'd sent about the woman who couldn't turn her shower off, but that was some place to work. It really was.
Oh, it was.
I don't know if you were working there. We used to have to work with the night watchman. I don't know if they
Yeah.
were,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and they were
Yeah.
always a bit. They were a bit dodgy.
Yeah, they were.
Was
I had a
was one
terrible.
called-
Go ahead.
Go on, Ray. Was one called Rudy?
Yeah, Rudy Droog. We
Yeah.
talked about him. He died.
Okay, yeah.
He died of a heart attack the day he retired.
Oh my God.
In San Pedro. Yeah, you remember when if the flights weren't going the same day, they'd stay in this little hotel right by Hobby Nobbies in San Pedro, and he was booked in one night with the rest of the crew, and they were due to fly out the next day, and then he never showed up at the coach, and somebody went to check on him, and he died, and literally that was his last, like he was retiring.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
crikey!
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried calling him, no answer, and his
Yeah.
voicemail message, his voicemail box is full, so I can't even leave a message.
Yeah. Okay. So it's
So
probably going to be.
I'll try again. I'll try again in a little while in case
It's probably a hopeless case, which is sad. But all we can do is try. Appreciate it, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say one of my fondest memories of that A-deck pantry. There were 4 bellboys, and there were 2 bellboys on at a shift, and the
That's
night
right.
watchman would come in the evening and take over. I can't remember what time we finished work. It's like 7 in the evening or something, or 8 or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, right?
Yeah.
But because we did afternoon room service every afternoon between noon and 4, I think it was, we did the afternoon room service, and at sea, that it was busy at sea. It was busy when we were in a port like St. Thomas, as I mentioned. But
Yes.
we'd have to go up to the bakery. I don't even know why. We'd have to go up to the bakery and get pastries and things like this. And there was a hot drawer in the pantry, which kept things hot. And we used to go and get all these Danish and put them in the drawer, and they'd be kept warm. And to this day, I still remember those hot Danish pastries. And I even asked Hilda on one of the other calls that we had for the recipe for Danish pastries because they were so good. And I don't know how we didn't get fat because we used to stuff ourselves with those Danish pastries.
Too much running rate, too much running around the ship. That's why.
Yeah. And one day I had a terrible experience. I was running around all afternoon. I was so thirsty and I got back to the pantry and we used to have these little cartons of milk that we would take to people. And I opened up the fridge, grabbed a carton of milk, opened it and then chugged it. And it was like yogurt. It was awesome. It was just absolutely gross. And from that, always, ever since then, if I ever open milk or anything like that, I smell it and check it.
Check it.
before I
Yeah.
drink it.
Hello, Bobo.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hey, Bobo.
Where are you today? You in London or Cardiff?
No, I'm Cardiff. Yeah, been here about 3 days. Yeah, in the valleys. So I caught up with Taffy the other day. He took me all around the valleys. She was good.
Well, when's the last contact you had with Taffy?
A couple of days ago. Yeah, not yesterday. The day before.
Okay.
I met him on the other side of Cardiff, and then he took me for a ride all around his valleys and up into Risca, and then had something to eat with him, and then I drove back. So I'm getting used to the area, but it's nice around where he is in Risca, in the valleys. Yeah, lovely.
Beautiful.
He'll come on later.
I hope so, yeah, because he left the crew bar, I think, by mistake, and so we're wondering about that.
Yeah, the WhatsApp group, right? He
He's left.
Yeah, the messenger group.
He
The
left the
messenger-
messenger.
Messenger
Yeah.
group. He's
Oh,
left.
Messenger was it? Yeah, I thought it was
Group,
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So Brendan, you were a bellboy there as well on the Sunset.
Yeah. We did the maiden voyage, Ray. The four original bellboys were myself, a guy called Stephen Waymark, another guy called Alec Craig, and another guy called Colin Horn. And we were the four original bellboys on the Spirit of London. And it was, I remember the A-deck pantry. It all, when I saw those photos, it all came back. I remember.
Yeah.
But that one incident stuck in my mind because, you're 16-year-olds, not had much interaction with the female species, and we thought, hello, a woman can't turn the shower off. We're going down there. We'll show her how to turn it off. And when we got down there, we had quite a shock, really. It was not what we expected, but anyway, we turned it off, and we realised.
One could say it was your first internet interest in porn.
Yeah.
Okay, Brendan, you're out of a job, Brendan, because Hinge is coming in. But
good on you, David.
We should have like a special bellboy edition, because I bet a lot of us were bellboys originally.
A lot of
I would
bellboys,
imagine
yeah.
there's quite a few of them, and I bet there's lots of stories.
Well, Derek was a bellboy.
I was, yeah.
I'm not sure about
1969.
Pete. Were you a bellboy?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't a bellboy. I joined us at an AS in
Okay.
72.
hello,
Okay.
Hilda.
Yeah, I was
I don't
a
know
bellboy
about Dave. Was Dave a
69 on the
bellboy?
True Sand.
No, I don't think so.
What, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was too old to be a bellboy even before I was 16.
Too old to be a bellboy and too young to be a queen.
Never too old for one of them, dear.
So, Dave, a couple of things. If we're not on the Aussie bar, say
Yeah.
hi to Hilda. Say hi to Martin the bellboy, because they're special. Hilda hasn't been in for a few weeks.
Yeah, but I've already had a personal phone call with Hilda, haven't I?
You have, David. Yes.
Thank you
Don't
very
tell him
much.
Don't tell him what we said, though.
No, we won't.
That
but
was between you and me.
Was it long distance from Sydney?
It was all. Don't mention Sydney. He doesn't know about it. But, yeah, and
Can I ask-
Martin the bellboy?
David, can I ask who Sydney is?
Who's what?
Who Sydney is?
Sydney.
He's a friend.
Sydney.
Is he a mutual friend?
Very mutual. Very,
A
very.
friend of Dorothy's.
Sorry,
Oh, it didn't
sorry to
say
interrupt.
Oh dear. Hey, Martin, obviously lovely to see you. Bobo
Andrew.
was
Andrew.
nearly a week, but Martin,
Yes.
I was down at Southampton docks last week. You know, I hang around the docks a lot.
Yeah.
But where were you? Where were you? I dropped Steve
I
off.
know. I see that. I don't know what I was doing, but I couldn't get down there. But it's been great to see you again. But yeah.
I know, it's good. Look, boys, put your orders in early for the parking space and also for you being delivered to the port. Colonel does it about 18 months in advance. So yeah, definitely do it. Right, hang on.
Steve's still on his cruise, isn't he, Dave?
So, did I what?
Steve's still on his cruise, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He rang me. He phoned this morning. Actually, yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
They're home next Saturday. So and Scotty, you've done it as well. You've done the
I have.
Norwegian.
That's,
You were pining for the fields.
that photograph that I put on the old True Sand in it.
Yes.
I was actually a bellboy when I climbed that hill and took the photograph.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about bellboys. I went, and we're not going sporty, but I did go. I went to the football yesterday at Bournemouth, and there was all the boys that I go with were all off the ferries, but a lot of them. One was with P&O. A few of them were Cunard with the QE and all the rest of it, which is fine, QE too. Anyway, they were saying, Dave, were you a bellboy or were you backdoor? And I said, I beg your pardon. But apparently they said, if you didn't come through the merch as a bellboy, you literally, they call it, you go through the back door, dear.
Oh, well, I have to put my hand up then.
And so will I.
So do I.
We're all putting our hands up.
Yeah, all got our hands up back door.
Was it back door or
and all the bellboys, you can put two hands up, can't you? And you can clap. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you come in through the back passage?
Oh, steady.
It was led by Steve,
Okay.
Gravel Lane.
The conversation has descended.
Oh,
It's the inside passage, and it's in Canada.
Correct. Well
The
done,
Elastic
Brendan.
Cruising inside passage.
Yeah.
And
Well, I spoke to Phil the other day. I'll have to ask him about that.
Well, the inside passage.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about the back passage, you said you spoke to Phil. How's the mince pies? Can he see all right now?
He was going for his eye test this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then as long as he can see the correct distance to read a number plate, he'll be able to drive.
Got it. Good. And Chris Johnson, sorry, I haven't. Well, you know, it's good to see you. All right,
And you, David, yeah.
flipping great. Yeah, so Martin, are you going to return that flag back to Fruity? You know it belongs to him.
No, that's not mine, dear. That's not mine.
No. I bought this from a little shop in Southampton. It's called
Right.
Cobwebs. You might have heard of it, Dave.
Okay, yeah. Cobwebs.
It's like an antique kind of shop, but it deals with like seafaring stuff.
Great. Good.
And that's where I found it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
David, I seem to remember you draped in mine at some event. I can't remember where it was.
Well, I had to wear something, dear.
I think it was in the juniper berry.
It was in the juniper berry. It was a very, very, very special one. So, Zachary, thanks for all those photographs, and for Martin. You know, with you as you say, you've probably been talking about it, but the photos of you all as bellboys, and you know, the photos. Some of them I hadn't seen before anyway, but yeah, really good.
Yeah, and I threw a couple in there from from the Merchant Naval Training College.
Yeah.
One of those guys in that picture of three, I actually met up again in Trinidad. He was on a tanker or something like that. And Malcolm,
I'm in Trinidad, Ray. I'm in Trinidad.
oh, you're in Trinidad now? Oh, Trinidad, California.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Colonel.
I have to tell you this. One of the important life lessons I learned as a bellboy, because of the bellboy job, we had to deliver mail around the ship as well. I don't remember exactly who we delivered the mail for, but we were doing a 3-day LA to Ensenada cruise, and there were these two quite stunning girls on board, and I can't remember exactly how we ended up. We ended up in their cabin. Nothing happened, but we.
That sounds disappointing.
You know, we were kind of enamored. Yeah, we're kind of enamored by these girls, and I was sort of going to be in touch with one of them, and so we exchanged addresses. And of course, I am terrible for writing. My whole life, I've been terrible for writing letters. In fact, one of the bellboys, which we've talked about before, Dave Hall, once wrote a whole bunch of postcards for me because he used to get mail from his family every week. And he wrote out a whole bunch of postcards, and all I had to do was sign them and stick a stamp on. And I actually took them home and gave them to my parents. But after about 2 or 3 weeks after these girls were on, I had to deliver the mail, and I'm going through the mail, and there was this letter for one of the other bellboys, and I can't think of his name. And it was from this girl that I was supposed to be writing to. And so unbeknownst to me, he'd written to her and she'd written back. And I was so incensed. I went round to his cabin, which is next door, right? He's in the next cabin. And I almost killed him. I actually had hold of him by the throat and I was throttling him. I was saying, "You bastard, you know, you're trying to chop my feet." And then while I was in the middle of doing this, I suddenly thought to myself, what in the hell am I doing, right? Like, these girls, they didn't really mean anything. And here's my colleague, I'm trying to kill him. And so after that, I let go and I really apologized to him. I was so apologetic. And I learned not to let jealousy affect your decisions. And that's the thing that stuck with me for the rest of my life. I've never been jealous of any relationship. Yeah.
Good boy. Yeah, that's nice to know that. Just for the future, that's nice to know.
Yeah. If I see you kissing someone else, Dave.
Right, guys. I'm sorry, but I've got to go because I've got to go and do my jari. Good to speak to you all and see you all, and catch up next week, or week after probably.
And we do have,
yes, David, we do have an Oscar tale.
Yes, we do.
It's great.
We have the second part of the Angelina Loro story.
Fantastic.
Okay. Very interesting.
Okay. All thanks to Oscar.
Yeah.
So see you all, guys. Take care.
Cheers, Fruity. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Cheers, Bruty.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Brill.
Okay. So now we can talk football. So Pete, how's your nephew or your cousin doing in
Oh yes, for the FA Cup,
Right.
for another round.
And my best mate Stormzy.
Has he got,
They're in the next round of the FA Cup. They've got to play. What is it? Marlowe's near Reading.
Yes, I think you're right. It's on the way out of London. Go on. And when's
They're quite a good side. They're in the league above them. That's next Saturday. And Stormzy's likely to be at that one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll reunite my friendship with him, and then I thought you were going to ask about what was it like to Chelsea winning on Friday night.
Yeah. Well,
Did it bring back memories?
Wasn't it?
Oh yeah. I can go back years.
Yeah. No, Pete, we don't want you to have to say that it was great to see Chelsea winning. We're expecting this every week, right?
Well, it's good to see where the £600 million goes.
Yeah, Pete, can you take your virtual background off? It's very blurry.
Who's?
Actually, Johnny, there's a very distinguished group of men behind Peter on that picture.
Yeah.
Very
noticed
distinguished.
Yeah,
There's Bobo, Charlie, myself.
Oh.
And
Pete, how do you feel about
me,
being
Brendan.
bollocked on the crew bar?
Yeah. I
I've
nearly
had my
phoned you
fair
up.
share.
There's
I
about
nearly contacted
250
you on
years
Friday
worth of
night.
sailing.
Yeah,
You
Brendan,
got a point of Hull.
that is your. You know that's your. Well, I was going to say, you know that's your garden. Yes, you know it's your garden. But
it is our garden, yeah.
it is your garden. But where was? Hang on, I'm just having a look now. There's you, Charlie. Is that Hilda? John, is that you?
No, it's not John.
I can't see nothing.
No, John wasn't there.
No,
Yes,
Well,
he was.
Who's that with the
Yes,
check
he
shirt
was.
and the
Yes,
white
he
coat?
was.
That's John.
Is it?
John.
There's Charlie.
Oh, okay. I can't
Charlie,
remember now.
you.
There's me with that on behind you.
Derek's
Yes,
there.
yeah, that's right. And
John.
next to you, Scotty, is John, isn't it?
John.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, what are we
Yeah.
looking at? I can't see nothing.
Are you there?
Look.
We're falling apart, boys. Come on, get some hearing and some eyesight together here.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking. Oh, I thought we was. Yeah, let me have a look. Yeah, I've got my glasses on now.
This is Derek and Hilda.
Yes, that's me on the end.
Yeah.
I think.
You
isn't it?
on the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's,
One of your
Yeah.
favourite positions.
I wish you wouldn't keep reading my mail.
Oh dear. Hey, no, look, boys. Last Monday, what a lovely day I had. And Bobo came all the way over on the train,
Yeah.
came down, right down to the end of the pier at Lymington. He went right to the end, didn't you?
It was an adventure. I loved it. It was so good. Yeah,
It
so
was-
good.
it was
Well
The
done,
weather was
Bobo.
perfect. Yeah,
Lovely.
the weather was perfect, and the
Yes.
walk was amazing.
It was wonderful, wasn't it? It
Where'd
was.
you walk to?
Where did we walk? We walked from, we went to Milford on
Okay,
Sea,
yeah.
and we walked round through onto the seafront, which
Yeah.
leads down to Hurst Castle.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we walked along the coast back towards Barton on Sea. We mentioned about you, didn't we, Bobo?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You sure did.
Going off towards Milford to Barton, and then
Yeah.
we cut back inland, and then we went through countryside within the in the walk, and then back through to Milford on Sea.
Through Ashley and yeah.
Yeah, and we actually had a sandwich on the benches on the green. Oh, hello, Charlie. Good to see you, Charlie.
Good evening, all.
Charlie.
On the green at Milford on Sea, where
It's hot in there.
Brothers in Arms, the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on,
Dire
Who's it?
Dire
Straits.
Straits.
Dire
Dire
Straits.
Straits.
Yeah,
Do you know what, Bob? Apparently, it was the whole of Dire Straits played there 2 weeks
Oh my
before,
God.
except
Oh.
for is it Martin Knopfler? Is it Knopfler?
Oh,
Mark,
Mark Knopfler.
Mark.
He was the
Well-
only one out of the whole band who didn't play down.
Well,
there.
he is Dire Straits, Dave.
No, he's part of the band. He's one of the band. All right.
I saw him in Seattle. I saw them in Seattle. It was great.
Oh, here we go.
Very good.
I
There we
knew
go.
this would happen.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, flipping great.
My wife I don't know, my wife just went to see Rod Stewart in Vancouver. And previous to this, she went to see Elton John. And she said that the Rod Stewart concert was so much better than the Elton John concert. And she said he was absolutely fantastic. It was like a really fantastic concert.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
I don't know if Rod Stewart is on tour in the UK these days, but
Well, can I interject there? I remember, I can't remember when it was, but we went to a Rod Stewart concert in Vancouver at the height of the Sun Princess era. And
Oh, yeah.
there was Fraser, Vince Greeley. We were all in a car. I can't remember. Seamus.
Yes,
And
I
we
remember
went
it.
were you there, Dave?
Yeah.
And
I was.
Fraser, we got out the car and we were in a petrol station, and Fraser had rolled up all these strange cigarettes that you used to get at those times, and they all fell out into the into the petrol court there, you know, and they're all over it, and we're all screaming at him, pick him up, pick him up. Anyway, we went off to this concert, and we were sat in everyone was passing these
Sociable cigarettes.
These sociable cigarettes around, and Vince Grealish was completely and totally out of his head, like the rest of us. And it was a fantastic evening. But I remember all he was doing was kicking footballs. I don't know if he was still doing that, Ray, when you saw him, or
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know what
he
you
was
mean.
kicking
Yeah.
footballs. But it was a brilliant concert, and it
Yeah.
was in Vancouver.
That was it. Because we were in Dry Dock, weren't we?
Yeah. Were you there, Dave?
Yeah. I was. I remember. I do remember going. I don't remember coming
Not
back.
much about it.
You'll have no problem now because pot is legal in Canada, and
Well, we didn't
it's
say we
not
were
a big
smoking
deal.
pot, Ray.
You mean what brought that up, Ray? What brought that up?
Caps in full strength.
You reminded me of a night where we were in Dry Dock in Esquimalt, and we all went out. I can't remember whose party it was, but there were some girls, and we went out to this house. I remember the house. It was in Happy Valley Road, and Fraser was supposed to be driving, and it was like an all-night party. We were literally there till the sun came up the next day, and he was supposed to be driving, and he was completely out of it. And
How unusual.
when there was a bunch of us there, Dave, I think you might have been there.
Yeah. I think,
Fraser
and Steve
was
Walker.
there.
Steve Walker, I think, was there.
And we went to Manchester. Mick was there.
Yes.
And I actually didn't even have a driver's license. But Manchester Mick and I rented a car one time, and he taught me how to drive. Manchester Mick taught me how to drive an automatic. And I drove it during the Dry Dock without a driver's license. And that night, Fraser backed the car out of their driveway, drove it straight into the ditch, and then we had to take the washing line down and make a tow rope out of it to tow the rental car out of the ditch. And then I refused to let him drive, and I drove home and to the Dry Dock. And at one point, we stopped at a red light, and there was a police car behind us, and I was completely paranoid that that we were going to get pulled over. But we made it. We made it back.
I just sent you a text, Dave.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
I'll read it out to everybody. Hang on.
Yeah. Where's our text, John?
Yeah,
It's
where's
all
our
right, no,
tape, John?
I have to, because luckily Brendan's been helping out covering for me as usual. But Charlie, I would love to say another warm welcome. And if you've got any questions, do please ask.
No, it's not. He's waiting for the question from Brendan. You know what question that is, Brendan.
Brendan, are you ready to
Brendan.
ask Charlie the usual question?
Yeah.
Charlie, what's the weather like in Bermuda today?
Thank you.
Very hot and humid.
Here we go.
Very hot, humid, 88
I can-
degrees.
I can tell because the fan's
Wait,
going
I know.
behind you.
Yeah.
He even moved his camera so you could see the fan, Brendan.
The
So
fan's going.
Yeah.
When the fan's going, you know it's hot in Bermuda.
yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
cheers, Charlie.
It only goes on when it's over 75.
Yeah.
Hey, excellent.
Well, I'll tell you what, Charlie, it won't be going in Ireland when we're in Ireland in September.
No. It'll be the opposite there, I would think.
Oh,
We'll have heaters on.
yeah.
97 here today.
Well,
97?
97, Chris?
Yeah.
What?
And 88 is 30. I just had to look that up. 88 is 31 Celsius, which is what it's like here in the afternoon. Of course, it's morning here right now. So, yeah, it doesn't get any warmer the further south you go, apparently.
Chris,
We have a lot
Chris,
of
can
wildfire smoke here, though.
Chris, I'm intrigued. What's the water situation in California for water?
Well, as long as the Colorado River keeps flowing, we'll be okay. But we share the water with seven states altogether. Share that water.
Right.
Yeah, but where are you in line for receiving it? Are you first in line, or are you down at number 7?
I have no idea. I think it's I think it's proportional to, the roughly to the population that requires it.
Good, good.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think 70% of our water comes from the Colorado River, and the rest of it comes from the snowpack up in the Sierras. But Northern California gets most of that.
Right. Right.
We just get the dribbles, so to speak.
Well, talking
And,
about
Chris, have the fires been coming? Are the fires close to you?
The who?
Who, me?
The fires. The
No.
Oh, okay.
No fires. No fires here at the moment. No.
They are in BC, aren't they, Ray?
Yeah, we've got 6 smokes. It doesn't look too bad. Like if there's wildfire smoke here right now, and but those fires are quite a long way away, and they're in remote areas, so they're just letting them burn. But I'm sure you've seen it on the news, the Kelowna area and also up in the Northwest Territories. It's really bad. And the problem is that we're like next week they're forecasting thunderstorms but no rain, and that's what ignites these fires.
Right,
and
yeah.
The only good thing is that BC is a vast area and it's mostly uninhabited. So most of the fires are in areas where they don't actually impact people and towns, but there's lots of places that are impacted.
I heard on the news the other day. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ray. I heard on the news the other day that the area of burnt in Canada is greater than the size of the UK.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Incredible.
And it keeps everybody feeling somewhat nervous, right? You're hoping it doesn't happen to you, but if there's a fire, there's not a lot you can do about it, right? I mean, they have helicopter tankers and air tankers and things like this, but they're often in difficult terrain, difficult to get to, and But anyway, we're good here.
But Ray and Chris, you've been out there many years. Have you known this? Have you known this before, or is it really getting worse? Or how would
Getting
you
worse.
describe-
Yeah.
Have you known it
Definitely.
before?
With every year there's fires. There's always fires.
Yeah,
but
we live in
this is like the worst
a
ever.
fire zone right here, and we've had several fires over the 40 odd years I've lived here that have come very close to where we live.
Yeah. What's your exact location, Chris?
What's what?
What's your exact location from Los Angeles? You're north of LA?
I'm 30 miles east.
East, okay.
Northeast.
Northeast, okay.
A little bit north from LA, but mostly east.
Yeah.
You know where Foothill Boulevard runs, Route 66, John?
No, I don't actually.
Okay, well, Route 66, which is Foothill Boulevard, around where we live.
Okay.
That road goes all the way from Santa Monica to Chicago.
Yeah, I know it's long. Yeah.
But we're just 3 miles north up in the canyon from Foothill Boulevard, anyway, which is Route 66 here.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
I see John was found safe and well.
John,
Charlie?
Hilda.
I said John was found safe and well.
Oh yeah, Hilda.
Hilda, yeah.
Yeah. When we managed to phone you to see how you were diddling.
Oh yeah.
You were out.
There was a panic there for
You were
a few
having a
days,
mince
John.
with a couple of homies. Is that right? You said that on the phone. You said you're out trolling. Bloody hell.
You're making me blush now.
Managed to climb into your apartment, John, and put a letter in there.
I'm stumped.
We thought you were firefighting in British Columbia, John.
Up the inside passage.
Changing the subject, do any of you know Mark Cook, that was a pastry chef with P&O? He was on CP Arcadia and the Oriana, the new Oriana that was.
What was his
No.
name, John?
Yeah.
Mark Cook, very, very talented artist with sugar work. No, or Alan Baker. Do any of you know Alan Baker? He was on Canberra in '82, which is where I first met him.
Alan Baker.
And then he went to shore and did some training and one thing and another, and came back and eventually made purser or hotel manager as it is now. He retired about a couple of years ago, but he comes out to Goa quite regular as well. But he came down and stayed with me a couple of days last week. And Mark Cook, who was 65 on Thursday and got married to a lady of 63, I think she was. Has got a nice farm near Horsham.
Cradle snatcher.
And he's done very well for himself. Mark has got an apartment also out in Goa, not far from me. And during COVID, he was coming around to me and doing my shopping and one thing and another because he had a scooter, so he was able to get around.
How about Roger Cheney, John?
I haven't heard from him yet, but I only thought it the other day. I said to Alan, in actual fact, I should have to give Roger a call because he'll be going. I expect he'll be going back to Goa. Usually goes back about October.
I mean, we'd love to get him in the crew bar. I mean,
I had said that to him some time ago, but Roger doesn't go on the media very much. He was on Facebook, but I haven't seen him on there over a couple of years or so now.
Yeah,
he seems to hide away.
That's too bad. Too bad.
Bit like.
And Brendan, you'd asked about Aggie, but nobody's heard from Aggie. I take it.
No.
No.
I mentioned on this on this group a few months ago, or a few years ago now. Aggie came through Dover on the ferry and was in touch, and he actually stayed the night, and we had a supper here and a laugh and a joke, and off he went on his motorbike back to Southampton. But
I didn't know he rode a motorbike.
Yeah,
I knew he had a motorbike when he was at sea, yeah.
And
I think he was a riot.
we never heard back from him after that. We knew he was working in he did tell us he was working in like a 7-Eleven type store. He was the manager there, and he was doing okay, and he seemed quite happy with it all. But that was a long time ago, and not a dicky bird since. And we used to send Christmas cards, and we get one back now and then, but we haven't heard from him for a long time, and just dropped off really.
Yeah,
it's a shame because Aggie was a real character. I mean, he was always. He was always, I know, tongue in cheek, but he was always very good to the bellboys. He looked after us,
Yeah, he was a really great guy.
In a funny sort of way.
Why did you say
I was the
that,
same,
Brendan?
Brendan. I used to have Christmas cards. We used to communicate usually Christmas time.
Yeah.
And then as with you, it just seemed to, I sent a couple of times and never received them. And I did hear that he'd moved from Eastleigh, but whether he had or not, I don't know.
No, I don't know. It'd be nice to know that he's okay, and but there you go.
He had a great sense of humor. He had a great sense of humor, and he was a complete rogue. And he was just, he was such a great guy. Do you remember that he used to have the coffee parties with amaretto coffee with whipped cream on the top? He was always having those in his.
He was always doing some stuff.
Yeah,
I remember he bought I'll never forget. Everyone used to buy these sort of music decks and things, but he bought this cassette deck. And you could load the cassettes in. You could put about 7 or 8 cassettes in, and then they would come down and load and think. And I don't know if you ever remember Peter Frampton Live. Do you remember that album?
Yes.
But it was Aggie that introduced me to Peter Frampton Live, and I remember thinking, what a wonderful album that was. And we used to go around his cabin and listen to it. He'd be working up topside in the bars, and he'd let us use the cabin to listen to music. It was fantastic.
Yeah. No,
Peter Frampton, I'll always relate that to Aggie because he introduced me to Peter Frampton.
We bought the album. Yeah. But do you remember Aggie's cabin? Aggie's cabin. If he went 10-pin bowling once, he bought a ball. He went water skiing. He bought a mono ski. He did.
Yeah.
He went diving. He bought the whole flipping lot: the tank, the mask, the rubber, the flippers, the bloody lot, didn't he? Everything,
Exactly.
the whole,
Exactly.
everything. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. You know.
How big was his cabin?
And what, Scotty?
How big was
He
his
had
cabin?
Big was
It was
He had
fair
a sign on
size,
the
Derek.
door. He had a sign on the door. He put a sign on the door one time that said "Deliveries in rear," and Sammy Bradford put it on his and had an absolute fit.
Oh, it's great. It's
But
great.
we went ashore for lunch. You know, we used to go to. I can't think of the name of the place now, but we used to go to this place in St Thomas on the waterfront. They had really great chili there, and we often would go there as a group.
Sparky's waterfront.
Well done,
Sparky's
Chris.
waterfront
Yeah.
cafe. Yeah, I love the chili there. Love the chili there.
And we came
Very
out of
good.
there and we were wandering down the street, and there was this jewelry shop, and he was always dripping in gold. He had big gold
yeah.
bangles and
Yes.
things like this. So we went into this jewelry shop, and he was trying to persuade me to buy a gold bracelet, and it was quite sick. And he was saying, you know, it looks really good on you. And the shop assistant, it was too big, and the shop assistant looked at me and said, if it's too big, we'll take a couple of links out and you can have them as earrings. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm not getting
Yeah.
He was a character.
I don't know. Hopefully he'll I don't know, maybe come onto the crew bar sometime. Maybe not.
Resurface, yeah.
Well, that would be incredible. It's actually funny. I don't know why I ended up having it, but like Dave said, he was well up on technology.
You're very much so.
And this was before the amateur video equipment was really popular, and he had the Super 8 with the sound, which I didn't have. I had a 16mm, but not. I had the sound separate, but he had the sound in the camera. And I've got a reel of his film to this day. And I think what happened was, you know, when people leave the ships and that, and then they send you the stuff. I ended up with this one reel of 8mm film, and I've never looked at it. I don't have a sound 8mm projector, so I didn't bother. But I've got that. Yeah, strange.
Maybe you can get it converted.
Worth looking at, John.
Yeah, I'll dig it out. It could be some.
Yeah,
some
but be
trumpets, right?
careful, because Aggie used to get videos which he would show in the cabin, and they weren't what you really wanted.
Actually, Colonel, when I left the Sun, I left you a box of cassettes. When I left, I gave them to you because I didn't have any
Yeah,
room.
I think they've gone to Goodwill, Scotty.
Yeah, we've still got them. Have
Yeah.
You haven't got Peter Frampton Goes Live, have you?
Frampton Comes Alive, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember there was a record player when I moved out of the Bellboys cabin and moved into that cabin with Mick Burrows. There was a record player in the cabin and a handful of albums, one of which was The Doors, and I'd never heard The Doors before.
Oh,
and I
The
could love
Doors.
that album. Yeah.
Well, LA Woman.
Jim Morrison.
That was
Yeah.
great. Riders
And
in the
now
Storm.
record players are back again, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Best of Doors. It was the Best of Doors album.
Oh, Best of Doors, right.
When I was a bellboy, first ship, one of the other lads had a Akai reel to reel. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
used to play
A what?
Akai.
Reel to reel. The big
Reel
round,
to reel.
the big round one.
Reel to reel tape recorder.
Yeah.
Yeah. He used to
Quarter-inch
play
tape.
Deep Purple and all sorts on it.
Brilliant.
There used to be in the Starlight Lounge, there was an 8-track behind the stage, and there was
That's
only
right.
one 8-track tape. And I think it was like Earth, Wind and Fire. And we used to play it over and over again.
Yeah, I had 8-track in the cabin.
The Akai behind me belonged to John Welton in the Ocean Bar. That's the only one I've got left. I had 3 reel-to-reels, 2 Sonys, and this Akai. I've still got it.
Wow.
Wow.
Johnny, it's bloody massive.
It is massive, yeah.
That looks like a 1955 computer.
IBM.
IBM.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get rid
Ahead
of
of the
it.
curve, John. You're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Actually, it could be Mickey Mouse ears.
Oh dear. Bloody hell, that's
Actually,
I've
I
still got-
wanted to share something with you today, all of you, and to get your views. In town today, what was it? Sunday, yesterday, we were sort of kicking our heels, Sherry and me, and wondering what to do, and we noticed that there was a gay pride march in town. I said to Sherry, I said, do you want to pop down and see this? And she said, why? I've always suspected that you had an inclination for the Cadbury's Chocolate Canoeing Club. Why would you want to join? And I said, well, I just thought, maybe cultural, and we didn't go in the end. We didn't go, but has any of you guys been to one?
No one's going to admit it.
I thought I'd ask you that.
Yeah.
They have
What
a big
would you
one in
want-
Vancouver every year that the Prime Minister goes to. It's a really big thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
one in Margate 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did you go, John?
One in no.
John's the only one who turned up.
Yeah.
I lock my doors. Me inside.
So Derek's a no-goer.
No, John's the goer.
We went to a nephew's wedding, and it was out in America. We flew to New York, and it was down in Savannah. It was down in Savannah, so we flew to Carolina or wherever it was, not whichever. And I was with my obviously the two brother-in-laws, perhaps younger and older brother, on one of the days there, and we'd gone to watch the football in a bar. And it's all roughy tufty, it was Liverpool playing somebody, in the in the Premier League. So we went in there, but on the way back, we came across, there was this huge, great big gay pride parade going along. And of course, the three of us by then had well too many scoops, and we're all screeching and all the rest of it, and we all get given a pair of these blue frame plastic sunglasses, which has got something, I don't know what, with it as well. And so we all go back wearing these sunglasses, and we see our families back at the hotel where we're all staying. And so, where have you been? He said, we've been to the football. What's these bloody glasses? Oh, we were at the gay parade and all that. And they were going, oh no, not again. No. Charlie, have you had yours in Bermuda yet?
Have we had what?
Oh, for God's sake, Charlie, keep up.
Well, have you had your banana? I don't know. Have you had the gay parade over there yet?
They had one last week, I believe.
Oh, there you go.
No, Charlie, what you're meant to say is we had one last week, not
No,
they had one last week.
Yeah. There's no we in they.
Oh,
Well, it's interesting because I don't recall those sort of things going on in our heyday when we were on cruise ships. So it's come on a long way, and for the good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that we had a cruise with a lot of cross dressers on?
Never.
Sun Princess.
Yeah,
Every
Hilda,
cruise?
get on board. Look, that was live in Margate.
Oh, there's Hilda.
And they weren't crew; they were passengers cross-dressing. Nobody remember that?
What, the cross-dressing cruise?
Was there anybody on the Spirit of London on the early days when we did a 3-day party cruise, and somebody had put it in a gay magazine?
I think I remember that,
advertised it as a
yeah.
gay cruise. Was any other year there then?
Yeah, I think I was there. I went on the
Yeah.
Sun Princess. There was
And-
definitely a gay cruise.
On
Yeah.
embarkation day, all these queens were coming up the gangway in drag, and Harry Bell was the second steward, I think it was then, and some of the baggage got lost, so he was trying to sort it out. And there's a queen there said to another one, "Oh, there's my mother in the cabin, and she's so worried about her luggage." So the other one said, "What's she doing? Shaving?" And then Willie Dempster, the second engineer, on Captain's cocktail party, and most of them were all in drag for that as well, picked up what he thought was this woman and took it to the cabin and found he got a handful of balls. And what is his name? Captain McGowan was the captain at the time, and he wasn't very pleased about it all. But nobody knew until all these queens arrived on board that it had been advertised in this gay magazine as a gay cruise, gay party cruise.
Yeah. No,
Great stuff.
we had all the Omies were all sat up in the Starlight Lounge, all along the bar, and we started chatting to them all, and he said, "Look, give them a bar napkin, with the drink, give them a bar napkin." I said, "There's another bar napkin here. Now, when I tell you to, you hold it up, you turn round, you wave it in the air and shout, 'Cooey!'" And they said, "Well, when do we do that?" I said, "As soon as I see the bar manager walk in." And Phil Butcher walked in. They all turned round, they all did cooey, and he just did a complete 180 degrees and walked straight back out. Oh, that's great. Oh dear, yeah.
So Charlie, when are you coming over?
Hey?
What day are you flying over?
4 weeks' time, I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah. This time, 4 weeks, I'll be over.
Right.
I arrive on the Thursday just before the 4 weeks is up.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, and then that actually that's Sunday. I'm flying to Ireland on that Sunday. 4
Right.
weeks today, I'll be flying to Ireland.
Okay.
Right. Well,
We're
Pete,
one or
can
two
you hear
missing
us,
tonight.
Pete? BBC Pete, can you hear us?
He's gone by the look of it.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Well, we might
'cause,
still be.
Pete and myself, I think, oh crikey, Ollie and Nevin, we're flying out on the Monday.
Yeah, and I think you're all meeting up and going on a bus or something. He was saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
spoke to him the other night.
Definitely.
Yeah,
But,
we're one or
Scott-
two missing tonight. There's Taffy and Ollie and Gizzy. I haven't seen them for a while.
Does Nevin ever
we
come on the
won't be
call?
there.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, Ray. No.
We're going to be in Ireland just before you're due, actually.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah, we're booked to arrive on the 17th through the 23rd, and we're doing a tour
25th,
down
the
south.
25th.
Yeah,
It's 2
and we'll be
days.
in London. We'll be in London then.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's
When are you in London, Chris?
The 23rd through the 26th.
Oh, nice.
Oh, well, hang on. 23rd, 26th.
I'll be there at some point. So.
Well, BBC Pete will be over in London at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
time and what have you.
He's there all the time, right?
Depends on what depends what you're doing, Chris. Obviously.
You reckon
Yeah,
you're staying in London?
we got 3 nights, and we arrive on the Saturday, which is the 23rd, and then by the time we get out of the airport on an Uber to the hotel, we're staying down near London, near the Tower of London, outside the
Okay.
Tower of London, not inside
Okay.
it. and then that evening, Saturday, we're getting together with a friend of mine who used to work as a photographer on the ships.
Right.
Not with Princess, but other Holland America and one or two other ships. He lives down in Southwark area on the south side of the Thames.
Yeah.
Has an apartment right on the river, so he's invited us to his place Saturday night, and then
Lovely.
Sunday my nephew's coming into town, so we're going to meet for lunch on Sunday, and then we're going to go see on Monday night. We're going to go see Phantom of the Opera, which my wife and I have never seen it, so we're excited to see that.
Great.
And then we fly back to the States the next day, so it's getting a bit chock and block.
Hectic, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
anyway,
well, that's a great trip, Chris, and I hope it all goes
yeah.
well.
And then Ireland's a week. We're doing a Trafalgar tour all the way down south, which I've never done. I mean, my family's from Ireland, but I've never been all the way down south to Ring of Kerry and Waterford and Cork and
right down the bottom.
Well, right. So just hope the weather's good.
Oh, it'll be great. It'll be great, Chris.
Be good for there.
September's usually good. Keep my fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Welcome back, Pete. Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, it's nearly time for the traffic lights, Dave, as well.
Oh, is it, Johnny? Sorry, it keeps flying by. So, you've mentioned with Fruity, he's got the special.
Got the Oscar tail, yeah.
Oscar 2, which would be great. Obviously, Hilda, it's lovely to have you back in with us, and Martin as well.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. No, it's great.
Great to see you, Martin.
Good to see Ray. Yeah, good to see everyone. Yeah.
It is definitely. Right, Johnny, do you want the traffic lights up then? It's going to hurt me. It's going to upset me. It's going to upset me if I can't find. Oh, where
I got mine up, Dave. I got
there
mine
he
up.
is.
Yeah.
You got yours as well. Yours is bigger than mine, Colonel.
Yeah.
John, quick question. What was
I highly doubt that.
Where were we with Billy Vader, John? He was going to try and come in, wasn't he?
I called him twice, Brendan, to try to get a hold of him.
Sorry. Okay.
And just got his voicemail, and it's full. His voicemail's full. His box is full, so I couldn't leave a message. Even. But I tried a couple of times.
We tried. Yeah.
It's just by chance we get a hold of him when the crew bar's on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we'll try next time, and I'll just try to try to instruct him. If I do get a hold of him, send him the link and guide him into doing it. If he's free to do it.
He did say he struggles with the technology.
Which I find amazing, given that he spent his career making movies, right? After he was a comedian.
Yeah.
So, actually, talking about that, so Martin, it's been 2 years since you've been on. So you just clicked on the link and you were in, right?
Straight in, no problem.
Okay,
at all.
so it is.
It is easy. I mean, if you just click on that link, if Billy just clicks on that link on his phone, and then you get that first screen, which gives you the opportunity to join meeting.
That's right.
And that's it. You're in.
Yeah.
So there's nothing too technical about it.
No.
Well, hopefully not. No, definitely.
Anyway, Martin, I don't remember you, but I was a photographer on the ships, by the way, if you're wondering who I am.
I do know that, yeah.
Okay.
I was saying to Ray that I'm sure that we used to deliver the photographs for you to the passenger cabins.
Oh, could be.
And
we did actually have one or two bellboys do it.
Yeah, you used to pay us $10 to do it. I remember it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never got paid.
Hey, that was a lot of money back then, guys.
I never got paid.
Oh yeah,
man, that night in St. Thomas on the Caribbean cruising, I mean, that was such a busy night for us, getting everything ready, and then you guys helped out delivering it. I mean, it was just crazy.
It was good. It's good.
Yeah.
Start saying goodbye, Dave.
Oh, Johnny, it's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt me again.
Maybe we better find out where Taffy's got to.
Still,
yeah.
Look, but anyway, boys, right, we're better wave to Johnny, but it's been really good seeing our faces, and especially the guys like, as I said, Martin and Hilda back in, and Charlie coming all the way in from Bermuda, and BBC Pete, thanks for coming in several times. and we can see you, which is the main thing. So, all right, we'll hear from you soon. All right.
Okay.
Bobo back in Cardiff. Well done.
No
Bye.
problem. See you
And
guys.
Scotty.
See you.
Brendan.
Take care, everybody.
Cheers, Chris.
See you next
Bye,
time.
everyone.
All right. Bye. Bye. Bye.
See ya.
Cheers, Ray.
Cheers for now. Cheers for now.
All
Well
right.
done.
There we go.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Cheers for that.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Oscar from Ollie's Pocket with Oscar Tales. The Tale of the Angelino Loro Fire, Part 2. After the Sun Princess had landed her passengers and the unfortunate stranded passengers from the Angelino Loro Fire at San Juan Terminal, we went back to normal and prepared the ship to sail on our next cruise. At the end of that cruise, we came into St. Thomas Harbour just as dawn was rising and beheld the sunken Angelina Loro sunk at her berth and sitting on the bottom of the harbour. She was listing to port and was sunk because the firemen had poured so much water into her that she simply could not stay afloat. The fire chief at the time, Rudolph Jennings, was later heavily criticised for some of his actions, and he had alarmed everybody by saying that people were trapped in the burning vessel. Though, to be fair, he and his men had not fought a ship fire before. However, no one was trapped on the vessel, and there was no loss of life. Although heavily damaged on the side we could see as we sailed into the harbour, it was nothing to the damage on the port side adjacent to the quay. Some of the lifeboats on the upper deck at the aft end seemed to be intact, but it was obvious to us all that she was a total loss and would never sail again. The worst part of the damage seemed to be amidships, and indeed here the lifeboats were burned as well. She was to remain at the dockside for 3 months before a German salvage company called Eckhart and Company came in June, and after an examination of the fire-burned sunken wreck, declared her a total loss. On a later cruise, I took this picture of the wreck, still sitting on the bottom, just as the Island Princess sailed into St. Thomas at the end of a voyage from Los Angeles to San Juan via the Panama Canal. You can plainly see the Angelina Loro had listed to port and was heading for an inevitable capsize when she rested on the harbour seabed and could not cant over any further. Angelina Loro was raised by Eckhart and Company on July the 2nd, 1979, and then was made watertight and departed under tow to Taiwan. She successfully managed to transit to the Panama Canal and continued across the Pacific Ocean towards Taiwan. The fire-warped hull plates started leaking, and more water each day, and as the tow got worse, she slowly started to list. By the morning of the 23rd of September, she was lying on her side and slowly slipped under the Pacific Ocean waters the next morning. That day was 40 years and 20 days after her launch. The Marine Accident Report dated August the 22nd, 1980. In the report, it clearly stated that only 2 persons received minor injuries, and there were no fatalities during the fire. The National Transportation Safety Board determined that the fire was caused by overheated oil in the unattended skillet in the crew galley. The initial fire propagated and spread throughout the ship and resulted in the ship's destruction because of the ship's failure of responsible ship's personnel to promptly establish effective control and coordination of the ship firefighting effort. Failure of the ship's fire detection and sprinkler systems to provide an early warning of and extinguish the fire in a concealed overhead space, and the extensive use of combustible materials in the ship's internal construction, which provided fuel for the fire and aided the generation and spread of smoke, which hampered the firefighting effort. I think the term concealed overhead space means the galley uptakes an exhaust trunking which should be cleaned of grease and oil deposits on a regular basis. It should be noted the ship was last inspected by the Coast Guard the previous Friday and had passed. So how a week later can so many faults in the fire equipment or the failure of the ship's crew to put out the fire when it was first discovered have happened? On the night of the fire, Rear Admiral Knuzed flew from Roosevelt Roads, Puerto Rico, at the request of Governor Juan Luis of the Virgin Islands, and he was accompanied by a damage control crew from the United States ship Rickard. The Coast Guard commander later concurred with the maritime report and added, in addition, a primary cause of the casualty was the unsafe practice of galley personnel using the electric skillet for other than its designated or intended use, i.e., it was never intended to be used as a deep fryer. This was not the only Loro Line ship lost to fire. On the 30th November 1994, the Achille Laura, converted to a cruise ship from the liner MS William Ruiz in 1965, caught fire off the coast of Somalia on a route to South Africa. The fire started in the engine room and quickly spread. The crew lost control of the fire and ended up trying to put it out with water from the swimming pool. The ship's passengers and crew took to the lifeboats. There were 2 fatalities during this evacuation. She sank on the 2nd of December 1994. She was no stranger to fire and explosion. She had previously suffered from them 4 times: 1965, 1972, 1981, 1985. I must thank Nick Howard for all his photographs, which I begged a copy of all those years ago, and kept safe for all my changes of residence, Mazatlan, New York, and now Carlisle, and to which I added a couple of my own. So this is a half and half effort of Nick Oscar Tail. Well, that's all, folks, for this week from Oscar. Oh, and always remember,